Hey, hey, everybody! It's Ron Jackson. How are you? So, do me a favor. If you're live with me right now, please go to the chat box and ask anything about guitar picking. Today's subject is about picking on the guitar. You know, it could be left-handed or right-handed, and I used primarily the George Benson technique. So you can actually, we could talk about that technique, and also you can also talk about other techniques like sweeping, picking all down or picking all up. There's so many different methods to picking. So one of the best things to do is obviously, like right now I'm using, it depends on the guitar too. So right now I'm using a guitar that has round strings. I just got the guitar from Eastman. It's a Eastman T49D guitar, and you can actually, the strings are round wound. So when I play round wound strings, okay, now if you have a problem hearing me, let me know. So I'm actually playing through my audio sound card. When I hit round wound strings, I tend to pick what's the word? Straight on or perpendicular. Because if you start, I like to pick sideways like that. But to pick sideways on a round wound string, you get a lot of scraping sound. You hear that? So I learned how to pick on both types of strings. So I'll adjust. See that? So on round wound strings, you hit straight on, like perpendicular. And I use the George Benson technique where like I turn my pick like this. Let me go closer to the, I want to move a little bit closer to the computer here so you can see. And you could, and I actually turn my pick like this. My pick is almost like this when I hit the strings. You see that? It's like sideways, but I'm going inside, like my wrist is going up. Some people pick like this. I think Pat Metheny picks like that. A lot of guitar players, I know Mark Whitfield does this way, picks this way. George Benson, a lot of people like Bobby Broom, Rodney Jones, that's who I studied with too. When I hung out with George Benson, and they held the pick this way. Okay. Now, you hear this? You hear that? Now, if you hit straight on, hear the difference. That's a warmer sound when I go sideways. When I turn up like that. You hear a treblier sounding. So, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to put this in the chat box. There's a chat box here. We're going live. And what was I going to say? I'm going to put this in the chat box. Send me questions. Okay. So one of my warm-ups I like to do actually is what I call the open string tremolo. So I like to go really fast as possible. Just hit like the first string, go down and up, but you gotta go fast as possible. So I'm hitting this pick straight on. I don't like hitting the pick straight on because it's too much. When you hit the pick straight on to the string, it's really hard to control. But when I go sideways like this, I can play much faster because there's a lot less tension. And I'm going inside of the pick. So you could do this exercise. You got, if you're not warmed up, you can get a lot of tension on your picking hand. See that? So my right arm. Some people are left-handed, so that's why I call it picking hand. You could do that for a while, fast as you possibly can. Now you can use dynamics, soft, loud, etc. Okay, then you can move to the second string and do the same thing. You can do this with me. Now the problem is when I get to the round round strings, I'm going to switch guitars in a minute. Go to my second string. You're going to have a problem with round round strings doing this because to be able to play sideways, it's better to use flat wound strings. Now, some people don't know what flat wound strings, but flat wound strings are the ones where the strings are all the winding is actually ground down flat, so you don't have any issues. Now the next one is now I'm using the round wound string here. It's not that bad because these are like kind of like polished down. Now the sixth string, you can hear the scraping. If I hit it straight on, you hear the scraping. So this is a really good warm-up exercise because this makes your left hand do a lot less work. You can play this fast. Now you can do different little exercises too between strings. Like now, good exercise is going down and up or up and down between two strings like this. Things like that. See? Okay, and then that's one thing you could actually do. And then we're gonna start working on arpeggios and all that stuff too, and how to sweep with those. I'm trying to see if there's anybody sending me questions while we're talking or texting me about this. Okay, good. So that's a great warm up. Now you could do the skipping strings. Hey, Reggie. Oh, Reggie Hagee has a question. How long would you suggest the strumming practice? You mean the tremolo practice? Is that what you mean? Let me write that down. Sorry, tremolo. I mean, I would suggest like doing that for 5 minutes or something. It should just be a warm up, like that. The thing is, when you do that exercise, you just gotta make sure you're completely relaxed. And my hand's already stiff because I'm not really warmed up. Yeah. Yeah, I would do that to warm up, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, just a little bit to start. Now you could do skipping strings too. That's much harder. So I'm going. You could go. You can make up little exercises. I'm going 2 notes or triplet. Triplets are interesting because you can go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. You know, you can switch between it, or you can just go down, up, down, down, up, down. We could go 4 notes. Now you can skip like 2 strings. So now you notice too that I'm not. I'm primarily focusing on just getting those notes out. But you know, the thing is, like if you're actually playing, you're gonna have to actually what's the word? Block the string to get sound with your left hand eventually and your right hand. There's a lot of ringing. So, you know, the most important thing is now is that I'm actually using alternate picking, which is down, up, and you should be able to practice your scales and your runs with those kind of with alternate picking mostly. So when I'm actually playing a line, let's say I'm playing a C major scale. Let me adjust this right so you can go. Let's just do a different key, like let's say A flat. So what I'm doing is I'm doing all alternate picking. I mean, obviously, and see, now you got to coordinate your left hand and right hand. So the thing is, now you can do different exercises with that. You can go, you can do, you know, eighth note. Or you can, now I'm doing, you could make up different kinds of exercises with that. You can go in thirds and go, use alternate picking. Any position. I mean, any possible fingering that you do, you should try to use alternate picking. Now, but another rule is, let's say you have an arpeggio. Okay, arpeggios, like let's say like even two notes. I can use sweeping now. Sweeping is when you go across two strings, two or more strings in the same direction. It could be going down this direction, even though the pitch is going up, or going up this way, even though the pitch is going down. Go back to A flat. Now, what I can actually do too is I can do like a phrase with the chords where I can just go, I can do 3-note voicings and go up the scale this way, up the neck, up the neck. I'm doing diatonic chords in the A flat, just thirds. So I'm going 1, 3, you know, A, B minor, C minor. So if I'm going to sweep up, I can go. See what I'm doing? So I can mix them up actually now. See? I'm sorry. So I'm only going one direction, but you could actually sweep backwards too. You could sweep like this. I'll move the mic a little closer. You can sweep like this. Now, if you look at my picking hand, if you have any questions about the picking hand and how I'm doing this, I'm actually still keeping the pick. I'm not hitting the pick straight. I'm not hitting the pick straight anymore. I'm still going like this sideways. You know, this exaggerated upward, you know, wrist motion here or wrist placement. You know, it's not straight like this. And the pick straight. The pick is going against the string like this. You can see that. More like that if you see the pick. Okay? So I'm going to go up like this. I can go up. Now the thing is not to have the notes bleed into each other. So it doesn't sound like you're actually holding a chord together like this. You want to go. You want to make sure the notes are separated so you can get cool lines like this. So if you want to mix them up, you can go like this. So I'm going to go down, up, or you can go. Now I'm doing that on actually the fourth, second, and third strings, fourth, third, and second string. You could do it from any arpeggio. I'm just doing the diatonic chords to the key of A flat. It's a little harder. So you can do it that way. I'm only doing 3 adjacent notes too, like a chord. But you can actually go. You can actually separate notes in different ways. You can go. You can go 2 notes and then on the same string play the arpeggio instead of going like this. So if I did something like that, I would go sweep, then go up, down, down, up, like that. Backwards, I would go down, down, up, up, down, up. Going up like that, going backwards. I mean, there's so many ways you can practice these type of things. You can go, I can use a 4th string, a 5th string root. Going down, sweeping. I like that lick here. I'm going. This sweeping lick, I'm actually going sweep, down, sweep, up, like that. It's a great warm-up exercise for your picking, actually, these type of exercises. Okay, if anybody has any more questions, please let me know. I see 3 people watching so far. That's great. Now, another thing you can actually do is, so you can start doing, there's different kinds of picking. So picking is not only with a pick. You can actually use hybrid picking. Now, hybrid picking is when you hold the pick and you start using your extra fingers to play chords, So I usually do that if I'm comping, like let's say I'm doing a bass line or walking, or I have some other stuff happening. Sometimes I start doing this. Turn up a little bit. So I'll go, if I'm walking a bass line, I'm only playing my 6th string right now, but I can go like this. See, I'm actually using the pick to do the bass line, and then I'm actually I'll do the comping rhythms with my extra fingers. I usually use my 2nd and 3rd. See how I'm using my extra fingers? Sometimes when I'm walking bass lines, I don't necessarily use my pick for everything. I'll mix them up. Now you can use your pick for everything, so you have to play right into the melody note. So now what happens is whenever I'm playing like the bass line and there's an extra place where I can throw the chord in, I'll just hit the pick with no fingers. So you have to be able to be able to change up whenever you want between these picking styles. You notice how the pick when you use the pick, it's a lot louder sounding too. A lot not as nice as sounding, or, or soft as sounding. This sounds smoother to me. If I use my pick, it's a more abrasive sounding. So when I'm picking, that's hybrid picking. So I mean, there's different types of hybrid. I'm just doing a walking bass line, but you could do a melody like this with hybrid picking too. It's coming soon. See how I'm mixing up the fingers now with the picking at the same time. Now, if I can still do the same thing with my pick. I have to really play every chord. So pick, actually, when you're actually using your fingers, you can get a lot more independence with both hands. I mean, I do a little. So that's one way of playing. So I'm using my pick on this one, and fingers called hybrid picking. But also, you should know how to do some finger picking stuff too. I mean, you should start. Picking is a big world, Like Tommy Emmanuel is a great guy to check out, man. He's like a real master of like the finger picking and playing melodies together. And some people are really great at just picking. I saw Julian Lodge, guitar player, play really quick picking just on acoustic guitar, kind of like mixing it up, just playing all picking with no hybrid picking, just picking every note. So you can actually get this stuff really, really together. So another thing is just to learn how to do fingerstyle guitar. Classical is a really good thing. Now that's a whole different world because now you gotta learn how to get every note clean with every finger. So I used to study classical guitar. One of the things they do is have you play a C chord, do all these different kinds of patterns. And holding that C chord was just as hard as playing the picking. Or different patterns. I mean, there's so many things you can do with just finger picking. And another good thing to do is actually like I used to study Chet Atkins, and he was great. You could do ragtime guitar stuff. So I'm doing like a ragtime finger picking thing. That's one of my old songs called Old Country Road. And I'm into this kind of stuff too, but you gotta keep, you have to keep practicing these things to keep up with all these techniques, left hand independence. I mean, right hand independence with your picking, left hand at the same time with the bass line going. And sometimes I get I have the missing string syndrome, like missing limb. So I play 7 string a lot. So as soon as I feel it's a 7 string, then I start trying to play it. It's not the right note. So it can get kind of tricky. Does anybody have any questions? Please send me questions. Hold on. I'm going to say, send me questions, please. Send me questions, please. Send me questions. In the chat box of on this live stream, please send me a question. So now, some people ask me, there's some other techniques too to play. Like, picking is really important because sometimes when I'm picking, I don't play every note. I don't pick every note. I also phrase with my left hand when I'm taking a solo. Excuse me, and I'm making sure that I don't pick every note because sometimes it can sound really heavy. So if I'm playing really fast, I'm not necessarily picking every note. Oh, what is this? Hold on. There's a question right here. How does picking vary between 6th and 7th string in layman's terms? Oh, so when you're picking with a 7th string guitar, I should get the 7th string guitar out. It's a little different. You have a lot more strings to try to block and cover with your right hand too. Now, picking your technique is also learning how to mute strings. Let me get my 7th string out. Real quick. Hold on. Oh, where's that chord? Here it is. So here's my 7th string. Yeah, that's a good question. So when I'm playing a 7th string, it's a little different because, not technically speaking, but you have to block a lot of strings. Now, also I have a flat wound string on this, so I can play sideways, except for the 7th string, which is, you can hear that scraping sound. On the 7th string is round wound, but the rest, they're all taped. Only thing, the problem is with the 7th string is that there's so many more notes to block. So if I'm playing that ragtime piece with my right hand. So it's tricky to play that ragtime piece now because I have that low note. I'm not used to playing ragtime on a 7th string. So I could actually go up here now. See, I can get that low note there that I didn't have before, the D. So this is the A, this is a D. So when I'm doing the finger picking now, it's tricky because the spacing is different with the 7th string as well. Now, so I can put that low note in there. I really love that low A string. So what happens is I'm actually I have to compensate to use that 7th string now when I'm actually doing fingerstyle. Now with the bass line, it's the same thing. If I'm doing, I was playing the key of C earlier like this, just like a rhythm changes in the key of C. So I was kind of doing this on the 6th string. Now, when I'm doing the hybrid picking, it's actually, I get all those notes down, but I have to compensate with the 7th string. See that? So I'm actually have to compensate with the hybrid picking. Now, if I'm going to do the same thing with strumming, I can actually go. I can go. See, so you should be able to compensate with a pick. You should be able to play with and without a pick. And what if you lose your pick? I mean, I used to actually at one time I used to play with my thumb. Oh yeah, we never talked about the thumb playing. So another picking technique is playing with your thumb. So you know, one of my biggest influences, I guess, like everybody else, is Wes Montgomery. So I used to play with my thumb. That's a whole different thing too. I forgot about that part. So now I used to see Wes, and he used to I think hold his thumb kind of like this, like a real pick. I had some friends that actually seen him play, and he would actually look like his thumb was so worn out. It was shaped like a pick. I heard. So the thing is now most auctions are done like. Well, you know, he used to pick with his thumb too, obviously. So you would actually do the same kind of thing you would do with a pick. You would actually, what's the word? Pick down and up, like alternate picking with your thumb. You could do the sweeping thing too with your thumb. You know who's really amazing with playing with his thumb and as well as his pick is too is George Benson. He can play just as fast with his thumb. He doesn't even need a pick. You know, sometimes he'll just play with his thumb. He's really good at that. Now I heard this guy. If you read about George Benson, now you know he learned how to pick with the thumb going with the pick going up like this because I heard he used to just practice, you know, on tour. And he used to be cramped in the car, and so he was picking like, you know, he had to hold his guitar up like this, and his picking technique, you know, would go up. Now he was really, you know, a child prodigy. He was playing that good, you know, when he was like, I saw videos of him playing 18 years old with who's that guy? Which organ player? You know, some great organ players back then, you know, and he knew how to pick like that quick. And one thing about George Benson, I was reading an interview with, watching an interview with Marcus Miller. He said that George Benson practices all the time. He has a guitar all over the house and just practices, whatever, all the time. You know, that's why he's so good. And I even had friends who toured with him, and he just practiced all the time. And that's how his picking technique was so good. Because, you know, he's one of those kind of guys, you know, you just keep practicing all the time, and you get so good at it. It just becomes so second nature. He just picks up any guitar, makes it sound good. I've heard him play a Stratocaster and it sounds good, or Telecaster, any of those, you know, even a solid body guitar. So, you know, so when you're playing a 7-string, you know, this guitar particularly has these black flat wound strings, nylon tape, and they're really good. You know, they don't make any noise when you're playing them. They're just like, you know, they're regular round, flat wound string. So there's no, you hear no noise. See that? This string you hear, the 7th string, but the rest are all flat. So there's absolutely no noise. So it's really good for sweeping and stuff, you know, like this. So we were talking about playing fast. So when I'm actually playing fast, I'm trying to not just pick every note. I'm trying to use more legato with my left hand. So you got to learn how to do that too. So when I'm actually playing really quick, my left hand's doing a lot of, so my picking, I don't have to pick every note. Not like Pat Martino would pick every note. You know, like, you know, you have to, I mean, it's like, playing that fast, picking every note, sounds too abrasive to me personally. I like to mix it up. I'll go like. See what I'm doing is I'm kind of mixing up the picking with the legato with the left hand. You know, more using. I'm not talking about with legato with your left hand. You're doing more hammer on. You know, slides. You know, just not relying only on the pick. Like someone like John McLaughlin picks every note all the time. It sounds abrasive. I like to make it sound more legato, like a saxophone player. Mix up the picking with, with legato, left hand hammer on, pull off kind of things on the left hand. I'll go like this. I'll go things like, if that's a nice thing. See how I'm mixing the legato with the picking? I'm going, see how the pick's coming right off. I might do a hammer on. See, I might go. See, I take my picking hand out. So my left hand's doing some of the work too. So I'm just trying to show you that you don't have to pick every note. I think that they're all picking just now. It will sound like that. It sounds like when it's picked every note. So you want to get a nice clean sound when you're actually playing. And that's my opinion. Now, some people like the picking sound like that. So I think that's your preference. So let's get back to the thumb a little bit. So when Wes was playing the thumb, so I mean, I was playing with my thumb for a while, maybe 15, 20 years ago, a lot. I was playing with my thumb. So now, I think playing with the thumb has such a warm sound. So I mean, I would just do exercises like. See, I'm not used to playing with my thumb going down and up, but you can practice down and up picking and picking notes. I think a lot when you're playing with your thumb, also you have to rely a lot on your left hand. At least in my case. I was doing West Montgomery's Road Song. You have to do a lot of with your left hand and right hand this time, because for me to compensate for the it's not as loud as like Wes would do it, because he really played it. He used to probably flick if you hit your thumb like this, you can kind of flick the string and get a more sound, almost like what we call rest stroke in classical. A rest stroke is when you hit the string and you rest on the next string, and you get more of a sound of it. You get the bouncing of the string like elastic. Actually, we never talked about that with the pick, so you can do the same thing with the pick. Sometimes when I pick a note, I'll rest on the next string to get more response from the string. Another good technique I forgot to mention, there's so many techniques with picking. The sweeping. I mean, one great guy who's really great at sweeping is Frank Gambale. He had this like video years ago that was all sweep picking that I actually have somewhere on a video that can't work anymore. And basically those videos were like, what's the word? Eventually get stuck in your video machine. So you can actually order the DVDs now for this stuff, so they're so much more reliable. But he had a great video about sweeping. He did all kinds of weird stuff with sweeping, really advanced stuff, And another good technique is learn how to mute the strings when you're picking. Because when you start recording stuff, you can hear the string. There's a lot of string noise that strings ringing. So one good technique is actually playing like a scale. Like a good exercise I like to do is like to learn how to pick and mute with your left hand, so you don't. But to also play one note at a time. This one good technique is playing the A minor pentatonic. Let's say the fifth position like this. Okay, and I could just hit every note and every string like this. And learn how to block every note. I'm hitting all 7 strings. But this is the hard part. It's the first string. I have a lot more strings to cover here. actually doing is learning how to block the strings with my left hand and playing all 7 strings on this, in this case, with my pick, and try to get a clean sound. So you could actually start doing the funky percussive stuff when you're doing funk. So you can actually get that muted sound in between strings. Another good technique for picking is learn how to mute with your left hand when you're picking, like I was just doing. See how I'm doing muting and that kind of stuff. There's so many picking techniques. So let's do a little review. So so you remember the most important thing, Reggie. Oh, Reggie, thanks for the question. Reggie's asking, do you keep your nails in any condition for fingerstyle? You know what? When I do fingerstyle, you know, I have friends that I had this guitar teacher, Ben Scher, Berkeley, you know, professor, come over. I did like a duet with him here at my place, you know, for Mike's master classes. And Ben actually has like fingernails or finger picks attached to his fingers. And so, I mean, I basically just use skin when I'm doing picking. Um, um, I think you're talking about my picking hand, I hope. And I don't use any kind of conditioning. I just use my skin on my fingers. But people actually grow their nails to play classical. Now, when you do the classical stuff, thanks, Reggie. You know, when you do the classical stuff, you're using nylon strings mostly, so it's kind of hard to put your nails on steel strings. That's the problem. So, you know, we haven't even talked about how to pick on a nylon string. That's a whole different world too, and on steel string guitars. So you have to adjust your picking a little bit to get used to these things because they're round strings. But no, I don't do anything to my nails. I just try to keep them short for my left hands because if they get a little too long, it starts to interfere with my left hand technique. But as far as my picking, I just have my nails short, and I use skin basically. So I can use my thumb. Sometimes when I use my thumb, most of the time I'm just hitting downstroke on using my thumb. But also I know how to use my fingers a bit. I used to do it a lot at one time, practice like. So I'll use my thumb and first finger, like down, up, down, up. You know, a lot of classical guys do that. Some classical guys, like I've seen Paco de Lucia, they'll use like their first, you know, the index and middle finger to play like play like crazy fast runs. But they're using nails too, you know. So the nail, when Paco de Lucia was using nails, it had a really strong sound, you know. I mean, they put super glue on there so there's a break and all that. It's really like a whole world that I'm not saying I'm lazy, but you know, I didn't want to keep up with all that upkeep for your nails to play this stuff. But flamenco guys and all that, you know, they have stuff like that. And classical guys, they have nails. But you know, if you want to see some technique, you should check out the videos with John McLaughlin, I'll Do Me Alone, Paco de Lucia, when they had this trio for fast picking technique. You know, they're not particularly playing jazz, but you know, that's fine. I mean, I saw these guys in high school, and they had so many chops. You know, they go, they're doing really fast scales. You know. Stuff like that, you know, crazy runs. I mean, you know, they're just like scale runs. This, you know, really played fast, you know, and I really like this. You know, that's a whole different kind of technique. Now, jazz is, I don't want to say it's more sophisticated. It's just like, I love John McLaughlin and all these guys, but I like to play with more sophisticated legato kind of playing technique. So you got to kind of switch that up together. So, I mean, I'm going to be putting some picking exercises on Patreon soon, you know, that I use for warm-ups. There's different warm-ups you can use, like, you know, the tremolo, there's sweeping, You know, there's all kinds of different techniques. So if there's any questions, let me know. You can send a comment, put a comment on this video after. I might finish up here. I mean, there's so many more. I think I got basically all the techniques. We talked about hybrid picking, finger picking, thumb picking, um, you know, a sweeping. We didn't talk much about sweeping down. So you can sweep down, like, especially with licks. Like one of my favorite licks to sweep down with is like the 9. Picking a minor 9, like a G minor 9. It's a great. I like to use that sweeping lick. I like to use it also on the that's on the first string. I could use it. When I do it on the second string, a lot of guitar players put that. So you hit that major 7 there, which is this. Here's a little different. You're hitting the root there. On the second string, you're going. See that? I can do it that way too. So sweeping down is a really cool thing to do too. You know, all sweeping down. Also, one rule that I forgot to mention was that when you're doing alternate picking, you alternate going. One rule is to go sweep. Is to alternate going up and sweep and alternate going down. I mean, that's a rule I heard about that George Benson actually used. You sweep and alternate and do alternate picking going down this direction and do up. When going up this direction, you use alternate picking. Is one rule. I mean, you know, in my case, I just do anything I possibly can to play the phrase the best I can. You know, so if it's some kind of arpeggio, I use sweeping. But sometimes I'll mix up an arpeggio with alternate picking. So, you know, you can break the rules once you learn them. But the most important thing is to get that picking going, and you know, using dynamics and every possible thing that you can actually do with your picking. You know, so I suggest listening to different people and trying to learn their picking styles. Not only like just with your pick, just learn how to play. You know, guitarists. I think jazz guitarists are very limited with it. You know, limits you to use just a pick and play one note at a time, basically. So if you can do hybrid picking and fingerstyle and learn those techniques too, you know, it opens up your whole world. And you know, and what happens is sometimes when you're trying to cover all the parts, it limits you too. So when you're playing just all solo, your solos are really good because you're only playing just one line. And when you start trying to do a solo when you're playing chords, that's a whole, you know. When I had my guest Sean McGowan on acoustic guitars, on acoustic guitar takeover I had about a month ago, Sean's great, man. He does the walking bass lines, the chords, and solos at the same time. Now I can kind of do that, you know, but he has it really worked out, and you can hear it's really worked out too, you know. So and it's really a skill to do that. But sometimes when you're doing it that way, it limits your soloing because, you know, obviously when you're trying to do everything, your solos can't be as strong, I think. I'm not saying his are in general, but I'm just saying, at least in my case, I can't solo as strong because I'm doing all this other stuff and I'm trying to worry about playing the bass line, the chord over the, you know, whatever, you know, I'll be going. See how I'm mixing everything up? Like, what I want to actually, you know, one good thing to learn is see if you can keep all the bass line, everything going without stopping while you're taking these solos. And that's really hard for me to do. I have to really work out everything to detail to do that. And so that's part of arranging, you know. Joe Paz kind of did it that way, but not exactly. he would do it like, if you listen to this record, I started listening to him recently again. And he was a master of like playing solo stuff, but he's not exactly playing like all the time like a solo and with the chords and bass line going at the same time. You have to have that really worked out. He had a lot of stuff worked out. Sometimes he would do that, but not all the time. He'd start filling in and just play lines and mix them all up. So I think I covered a lot of stuff today on picking. And if there's any questions, or after this live stream, please send a comment on the live stream, and let me know if there's any questions there, and I'll respond on the live stream. Who is your favorite fingerstyle picking song? Can you play it? Fingerstyle picking song. What do you think? Oh, I gotta think about it. What is your favorite fingerstyle picking song? Oh, I don't even know. Oh, one of them is I don't know. One of my favorite fingerstyle songs is Classical Gas. And I have the music, and I used to know the song, but of course I need to practice. But that's one of my favorite, like, fingerstyle kind of like, it was a big hit too by Mason. What's his name? Mason Williams, I think? That's Classical Gas. I like this song. I mean, I don't remember the song too well, so but that's one of my favorite classical, like, fingerstyle kind of songs, and these type of things you have to keep up with practice, But that's one of my favorite. So that's a good song for everybody to learn. So, Classical Gas, you remember that one by Mason Williams? I think that's his name. I'll have to look it up after. But thank you everybody for having me. This a Patreon workshop. I'm going to start. I haven't made any of these videos public yet, but I'm going to start releasing these live. Oh, I see another person joined. Thank you. For people who joined just now, I just went over all these techniques: thumb picking, playing with your thumb, hybrid, pick style, fingerstyle picking. So at the end of this video, you can actually watch the, you can go back and watch the video again about all the techniques I just went over. And if you have any questions, please post a comment to the video. Hold on. At the end, hold on. Let's see. Comment on playback. So please comment on playback, after you watch the video, okay? So thank you, everybody. And we'll talk to you soon. Please send me questions on Patreon, and that's www.patreon.com/RonJacksonMusic, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.